Dale, are we live? Welcome to 5 School Poetry Slam 2023. We are live from K1 Auditorium in Auckland Park. We are live on the 5FM app live streaming. My name is Dan Corda. I host 5 Breakfast Show. It is so wonderful to see you all. I want to hear your voices one more time because you are a part of this tonight. We're doing this together. Can I get a holler? So good. Okay, I'm going to make some quick introductions just before we start for everybody who's out there in the world and in the studio today. This is such a beautiful evening for me. I come from a poetry tradition and a performance tradition, and I was one of those weird drama kids in high school. I know many of us are here tonight, writing one-act plays at Westerford and just trying to have the best time. And what I realized when I was in high school, it was very important to me as somebody who was bullied and struggled a lot with anxiety and my place in the world, is that when people, particularly young people, are given an opportunity to find their own voices, when they are validated and given a moment to write and to think about themselves and to think about how they're experiencing their lives and the stories that they want to tell, they discover a greater ability through validation and opportunity and kind ears to find themselves, and then to have other people find them through the performances that they do and the words that they choose to express themselves. And so when literally 3 weeks ago, my partner in crime, Vani, who produces 5 Breakfast Show, was like, we should do a poetry slam. I was like, in three weeks? Okay, we're going to do it. And we went to air. And I know that performance poetry is not a fundamental part of many education curriculums. I know that some schools are trying to do it. And I know that it's blowing up slowly all over the world. But then we got all of these wonderful messages from schools and teachers and parents and listeners of 5 Breakfast from across the country saying, we're trying to do this thing. We have a poetry group. We have a book club. We have drama performances that are combining with our choirs and our orchestras on stage at our schools. And we're trying to convince other schools to make this a thing because it means so much to all of us. And so we decided we wanted young people to go onto Instagram, the avenue of the youth and the youngsters, and to express themselves. And we got all of these incredible submissions from these young people all across the country, and we came up with 5. And they are here tonight. 5 incredible people, not at a competition, at a celebration of the work that they've done and the refuge and the voice that they've found in their own writing and their own performing. So I want to give it up to all the people who entered and the wonderful young people who are going to be celebrating with us tonight. And if that wasn't enough, Ayob then said, did you know that the world slam poetry champion, the world one, who won the World Slam Poetry Championships last year as the South African representative against the whole world, is South African, and his name is Xabiso Vili, and he wants to come. And so that's Xabiso Vili, the World Slam Poetry Champion. And he's going to be here tonight. He's going to be performing tonight. He also does amazing work doing research and experimentation to figure out how poetry and writing and poetry performance can help people like us, like him. That's literally what he does. So he's here. But then the other amazing thing that Ayob and I found out as we did this is that we didn't know the people who we work with as well as we thought we did, right? Because there are so many parts of all of us that happen to work at a radio station that are unknown to the rest of us. And so 2 people are going to be performing tonight who you might know from 5FM. Shabzi Medallion produces the middle of the day shows, and Monique Dilas hosts early mornings on 5. Both of them poets, both of them spoken word artists, doing a whole new thing. So they're going to be performing tonight. And then very lastly, because I'm tired of my own voice, but very lastly, what I want to say, which is so exciting, is the fact that, yes, there were 5 finalists, right? There were 5 people who made it here, but only 3 of them will be performing tonight. And I want to give a specific shout out to Donna Levine and Jacob Gordon, who went through the whole process with us, but they're both practicing Jews. They're Jewish. They come from a Jewish school, and they've got Sukkot tonight, which is a really important religious festival where they essentially can't participate in this kind of stuff. They can't even go to school from sunset tonight, which already happened, all the way through until Sunday. And so they're not going to be performing tonight, but they are here with us in spirit, and I want to give them a specific round of applause because they're incredible. They performed earlier, and we think of them tonight. And very lastly, before I welcome up our first person, I would like to give a very special round of applause to the 3 performers who are here tonight. Please give it up for, in no particular order, Roba Chakeza, Nhlaganipo Ngomezulu, and Naledi Noku Kanya Tlalele. They are all already winners. There's no competition. They're just going to be here. They've been workshopping and working with Xabiso, with Ayub, and they're going to put on a show for us tonight. But before all of that, a dear friend of mine who I was lucky enough to meet because I work at this great radio station, 5FM, his name is Shabzi Medallion. He is a spoken word artist supremo. He's also very good at radio, but we're not talking about that tonight. A spoken word artist supremo. He is a performer, a writer, a compiler, and a creator of albums. He is an absolute master at this thing called the spoken word. And the first night that I was at 5, Shabzi and I got chatting because we didn't feel like drinking as much as everybody else who was there. And Shabzi told me this incredible story about what the spoken word means to him, akin to or even fully a calling. And so Shabzi has been so kind to say he'll perform for us tonight to open the event. But before then, he's going to tell you, because I think all of our journeys with spoken words and performance are a bit different, right? And even the way that we end up, and you'll see tonight with all of people's different styles are slightly different, and they all come from different stories. So I'd like to start with Shabzi's story, because it's really amazing. So please give it up for a bona fide superstar, Shabzi Medallion.
What is poppin'? Look, I'm a rapper. I'm gonna hold my mic, yo. It's really a privilege to be up here and speak to you guys. It feels like a full circle moment. I used to be in class looking at a guest lecturer speak, and I'm like, wow, when am I gonna get there, you know? But now that I'm here, I feel like it's still a privilege, you know? So I think we're all working together to make this a great night. My story, I wrote my first rap. I'm the oldest sibling of my siblings. I wrote my first rap because everybody would vent out their stories, their emotions, their sadness to me. But who's my big brother at home, right? And the reason why I told Dan, where we didn't have drinks, you know, I love deep chats, that for me, I had something in me that felt like I wanted to write. You know, and I don't know what that thing is, you know, because where does it really come from? We're writing as writers, but where does it really start? Who told you to pick up a pen and write something? Because you felt something, you know what I'm saying? Like you're the only person who's a witness to that gift. So I wrote my first rap, and after writing that first rap, I realized, well, man, that was healing. You know, I didn't have to talk to mom, I didn't have to talk to the brothers, the siblings, and make them feel good. I felt good afterwards. Years later, I fell in love with rap. I fell in love with Park. I wanted to do the exact same thing that they did. In this journey, you need to know why you're doing this. You need to not let anybody deter you from your why. Your first why is about you. What are you getting from doing this? It's going to serve you and how you need to feel. Then you become Shabzi Medallion. You're on stage, you're rapping, and then you have fans who want to tell you what to write about. You have peers who want to tell you what to write about. You have a lot of people who have opinions about your perspective, your very unique perspective, the very reason why you started writing. Don't let those voices deter you from your voice. You have a voice for a reason. We are all poets in here, but we don't have the same why. This is my why. DJ.
Take it, Shabzi.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Start it over for me. First, let me actually teach you the song. Stop. They keep asking about the best when they know it's me. Asking about the rest when they know it's me. Then you go, you know it's me. You know I know it's me. They keep asking about the best when they know it's me. Asking about the rest when they know it's me. And then you go, you know it's me. You know I know it's me. Okay, let's start over. They keep asking about the best when they know it's me. Asking about the rest when they know it's me. You know it's me. You know I know it's me. They keep asking about the best when they know it's me. Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Hey, yo, you gonna have to turn it up, man. Turn it up for me, man. Don't play with me. Okay. I done told you that I'm the greatest. I'm damn great in these rap racing. She's patience. I'm so amazing, I'm amazed that people embrace amaze. Stuck in the phase and think Panther gon' save the day. We in the game where we wait for people to fade away. Pave the way, lock the money up like it's slavery. Clock's ticking, but I'm chilling with Flavor Flav. That's a bar for people bragging about day to day. Part of my pessimistic way. This counterfeit is kind of fitting. I thought about undressing your booty. I thought about killing you. Yeah. In my business suit. Mama told me only say this shh if it's really poop. In the proper beat. Plus me passing it properly. Plus I kick ass properly. But I ain't finished.
Poured in the raps and God got in the jazz. My carpet lacking the floor, I'm Aladdin. On top of that, I'll be Jackson back with the bad. Moonwalking back to my dad, asking me what's the plan. Got a casket for all these cats. These whack verses they laid down. Lacking a vision don't make you niggas a Ray Charles. Pray to God doesn't have me having you fade out. They say I disappear, but I Copperfield is a day job. It's my only way out. Switching as the seasons come.
Change is all you need, a dog.
They're asking me about season 1 instead of bloody keeping up.
Dally, bring it back, please, cause he going off like people out of a taxi.
Driven to Merkel Mall, but Beamer over the Class C. Leaving them up behind like Zuckerberg in the backseat. Tax me for these rap. Tax me if you
love to be the guy to kill a bird with a wag tweet.
Exactly. They keep asking about the best when they know it's me. Asking about the rest when they know it's me. Huh. You know it's me. You know I know it's me. They keep asking about the best when they know it's me. Asking about the rest when they know it's me. Huh. You know it's me. You know I know it's me.
For a lot of you fakes, I'm getting harder to reach. A lot of the hate is getting harder to see. Cause I'm sticking with G's who kept it real from the jump. Sticking with peeps who stuck with me they stuck with me when I didn't have it all. When I was raising the bar, I had the family backing me. I was happily grabbing it. Now I'm actually gone. Never capping my dog. I see what you mad at me for. They keep asking about the best when they know it's me. Asking about the rest when they know it's me. You know it's me. You know I know it's me. They keep asking about the best when they know it's me. Asking about the rest when they know it's me. You know it's me. You know I know it's me. Yeah, 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 yeah.
You gets me? My name is Shabzi Medallion. Yo, poets, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy yourselves. Be yourself. Stay great. Daily rated. Now you know what's up.
One more time for a genuine wordsmith, Shabzi Medallion. I see this guy every day and he just sits in his production booth doing work for Zanele. Just working. Give him the mic, Zan. Come on. All right, 5 school poetry slam. Are you guys ready for some poetry, though? Some, like, poetry. So, team of young stars, do you actually know who's going first? You're pointing at people, you got no idea. All right, well, we're so excited because this now is the part where our 3 young superstars who've been working, they've been grinding, they've been impressing us already, blowing our minds, and remember, are already winners. They're champions. We're just going to celebrate them now. Are going to come on air and are going to speak the way they want to speak, show the voice that they have grown for themselves, as Shabzi said, not for you, not for me, but for themselves. And I think that that's really beautiful. So, without further ado, and because this person's not going to be happy that they're going first, nobody wants to go first, so you need to cheer them all the way into going first, right? It's your job. Make some noise for Roba Chekeza! More noise, more noise! She's not here yet! Summon her! Summon her! More noise! More noise! She's wasting time. She's delaying. Summon her! Pull her up! Mic check 1 2.
1 2.
That sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds good. All right, are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Everybody Gucci Mane?
Disclaimer, I've lost my voice over the past 3 days.
Take your time. Get settled. You're good.
I have Zimbabwean blood flowing in my veins, but the first breath I took was American. The calluses and scars on my body and hands only know the South African space. So when people ask me, Roba, where do you come from? I never know what to say. I cannot belong in the land in which I was born because it's only my home on paperwork. I cannot retrace my steps back to my roots and my rich history. I've become too desensitized from my culture. I try to strut the people's walk and talk their language, but it doesn't sound the same. They laugh and they tease. They call me a coconut. They tell me I'm not good enough. They tell me I cannot live here. They tell me I don't belong here. And they laugh when I try and express my pain. So when people ask me, Ropa, Roro, Ropafadzo, where do you come from? But before I get swept up in a current that's abused, before I get swept up and confused, I've decided to define that for myself, an independent description of my roots. I belong in the pages of a book, my spirit reflected in the words that I write as you flip the pages if I want to.
Yes.
I belong on a podium, my never-ending, constantly relentless soul and story forever being told if I want to.
Good.
I belong on the streets at 5:30 in the morning, greeting community property, watching the sun as it melts pastel oranges and purples and yellows into the sky in its hidden hello. I belong in the vast allure of my heart, amongst my ghosts, amongst my dreams, amongst everything that brought me here from the start. I belong in a world where there's ever raining purple rain from a yellow sky, a ground that is pink and white. I belong on a concrete base, but more importantly, I belong where I want to.
Yes! Roba Fadzo Chakeza, why are you sitting down? Bring her back! Bring her back! Bring her back! Wow, that was incredible.
Thank
You know, she's in grade 10 at St. Andrews. Imagine. And just so you know, you wrote this almost fresh for tonight, right? But the submission that you made for us last week was only like your 4th poem ever. This is raw talent. This is diamonds in the rust. You know what I'm saying? That was incredible. How do you get to the point of using language in a way that is so vulnerable and so much about your story? You know what I mean? Because I feel like we all just learnt you fresh there.
I read a lot.
Who do you read?
That's a very good question. I don't necessarily read specific artists. I've kind of fallen out of reading because life gets busy. But I think mostly watching other slam poets do their thing, that's really helped me a lot. Yeah, because they perform really nicely. They have really nice cadences and flows. So I think when I hear a slam poet that I really like, I'll adopt that or something that I really enjoyed about that, and then I'll write it in my own way.
And how did you get from being a fan to actually writing something to then performing something?
I heard, it was the second slam poem I heard. It was Nikki by Dante Basco, and it was perfect. He didn't use super cool, complex language. So I was like, I want to do that because he did it, so I'm going to do it.
And then somehow your school created a space, or somebody said a thing, and suddenly you had a community, right?
So shout out to Masinita Skosana. I don't know if she's watching, but she was the one who proposed to my English teacher, Ms. Hosking, for us to introduce just a poetry night for it was called a poet's night out. Cool. And it was in the school library. And then I wrote a poem for that, and I performed it. And if the reception was just really, really wonderful, it was shared everywhere. So I was like, okay, I really like this.
And how did it feel? How does because some people the performance is heavy, some people it feels like you're flying. How does it feel?
It feels it just feels natural. I appreciate when people are able to listen, because I like talking and being the only one to talk at once. Unfortunately, I have friends that talk a lot, but well, not unfortunately, I love them very much. But yeah, I think I feel accepted, especially because I can say what I feel, what I think, and people, especially my people, would be willing to listen and support me through all of it.
Well, thank you for your bravery and for sharing this beautiful piece of writing with us. That is Roba Chakeza. Can we give it up one more time?
Thank you.
And I just want to quickly say, like, that's exactly what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to somehow use 5FM's platform as a youth radio station to the whole country. We're the only national station that is youth-focused, right? And so what we're trying to do through all of you and all of us doing this together is inspire more schools to do this thing, to inspire more schools to go, yo, you know, the Shakespeare's not Shakespearean, guys. I don't understand 70 of the words on this page, and I was raised by 2 academics. Like, that's a problem, right? But we can enliven language, and we can enliven education by giving people the ability to do their voice like that. So thank you so much, Ropa. So Anderson Andrews and the person you dedicated that caused that night, which caused all of this. All right, you ready for the next poet? I am so excited, and they again have no idea who they are. Please make so much noise that he cannot join us. He cannot resist for Nhlakanipho Ngomezulu Oh my word, I'm so sorry. Earlier, our social media manager, Lebo, made me do this for a video because I'm just too tall for this. Okay. Is that to me? I'm so sorry. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, a little closer. Give me a... That's nice.
Yeah. Mic check. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Easy. Yeah. Yeah. I said, let this. Nah, not strong enough. Let this. Nah, feel it. Let this be a message to the ones who haven't seen you in your prime, because if pressure makes diamonds, then you are worth more than a dime. You let your thoughts decipher what you can and cannot do. If it's not the voices in your head, then anxiety must be your living proof. Consciously, you lack communication between yourself. Not because you're scared to talk, but because you're scared to ask for help. They say these walls could talk, but your depression, nah. Your depression screams louder than the cracks on these walls. Blood stains from the suicide attempt. Cause you just want to be like everybody else, huh? The same life that you chose is the one you haven't dealt with. Now, how does it feel? How does it feel to stare at your reflection just because you haven't seen the bigger message? How does it feel to walk over shambles of pain just because you haven't taught yourself a lesson not to depend on others but yourself? Cause you don't depend on others but yourself. You don't need anyone else. Listen. Cause you don't need anyone else. See, Novocaine doesn't run through my veins, not in God's name. A lesson to shoot for the stars like Michael, cause your disciples have no shame. Boundaries that people can't accept because your habitual skeptic is iridescent. Yet people ask, who the hell do you think you is? See, I'm not laughing because of the anxiety you had to overcome, nah. I'm laughing because the devil thought he could touch you, but he failed. I'm laughing because the ones who doubted you are the ones who've never met you. The ones who carry on looking down on your downfall, but wouldn't necessarily let you become the person that you want to be. You see, only God knows what you can and cannot do. And the ones you cannot do are the ones you can overcome. I said, let this be a message to the ones who haven't seen you in your prime, because if pressure makes diamonds, then you are worth more than a dime. You are worthy. Thank you.
Nhlakanipho Ngomezulu, you are a star, baby! Man, like that flow though. Do you feel like you're on a river? That flow though. Oh, That is incredible. Okay, so that is so cool that we had Shabzi and now you, because you presented that in so much of a lyrical, musical, like momentum and pace. Tell me about like how you found that is your voice. You know what I mean? As opposed to a different style.
Okay, so what I call the style that I use to write my thing in my poems or my songs per se is I call it prolific poetry. So it's basically a mixture of poetry and hip hop. Well, obviously rap, rhythm, and poetry. But in terms of mixing it, I was inspired by a lot of rappers growing up. I was inspired by your Kendrick Lamar, your Logic, your Joey Badass,
Good
your
names.
Coda the Friend, you know, and they just taught me how to, just be free in the way you express yourself. Your voice is very unique. You don't need to be like others for you to actually express yourself and express where you come from, your background and who you are as a person. So in terms of that rhythmic flow, it's two styles. I mix, I mix free verse with the lyrical, and I just combine that together, and I just do me. I mean,
Shabzi, you got an apprentice,
yeah.
my man. So, as far as I understand, your drama teacher heard our show and said you should. We'll forgive you for not listening to my show in the first place. But tell me, like, that's so cool that there's a teacher at your school who was listening, obviously, but like, teacher at your school who was like, this kid deserves this opportunity. Isn't that special? Like, what was your relationship with your drama teacher? How did they know about what you can do?
So this all started last year because I was a new student at Judeo College. Though when I started, I actually pointed out to her that I was more of, a writer, a poet, a rapper, upcoming artist. And when I told her that, she was like, okay, wow, I'm hosting, they were about to host a talent show, but unfortunately, due to, the faculties, they couldn't actually, host it. But she said that when the time comes, your time is coming, and I will make sure of it, And unfortunately, she couldn't be here, but where is she? My Afrikaans teacher is here today, and she and my English teacher were the ones who've been supporting me throughout my time and who've been pushing me.
These are the teachers we want!
Pushing me.
These are the ones we want!
Just pushing me to be myself and being the best I could be. And yeah.
Incredible. 2 amazing poems so far. Give it one more time. Incredible. All right. Before we do the last one, there was one request. What is the request? We'll see if we can fit it. Oh, I don't know if we can load background sound so late notice. Do you need it? You don't need it. I believe that you can own it. And I believe that they believe that you can own it. But I just want to say, just quickly, before we have our third high school genius performer, that's exactly what we're talking about with teachers who are going above and beyond to give people opportunities to have a voice. And hopefully next year, whenever we do this again, sorry, management, I know I haven't spoken to you about this, but when we do this again, hopefully there'll be way more teachers who've heard what these teachers are doing and do them in their schools so that more people like these guys end up here and we get to experience this. Do you know what I'm saying? All right. You guys ready for a third poet? You guys don't sound ready, eh? I will cancel. Are you ready for a third poet? Please welcome to the stage, Naledi Nokokanya Tlalele! Give me a pa 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 pa.
Pa 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 pa.
Dale, are we ready? Dale, we good? Over to you.
Nothing can ever prepare you for the day that you lose someone who is intertwined to your soul, who owns fragments of your heart. The person you were sure was put on this earth to keep you sane. In other words, a gatekeeper to your sanity. If ever the tragedy occurs that Tom loses his Jerry, that peanut butter loses its jam, that the moon loses its sun, remember not to suppress your innermost emotions, becoming a sleeping volcano waiting to erupt, but glide on these 5 phases as though you were a figure skater. Dance on them with intent like a ballerina, sing them at the top of your lungs as though you are announcing to the world that you are ready to heal. Denial, it is questioning everything, wondering how you got here, praying and hoping that perhaps if I close my oculus long enough, you will appear in front of me alive and well. It is questioning if it is real. The sensation of your heart detangling from your once safe haven. Anger. It is being angry at everything, blaming the world and nobody at the same time. It is convincing your heart, body, mind, and soul that pulling yourself away from the things that you love and care about will heal you, when in actuality, your heart, body, mind, and soul is decaying from the lack of nourishment, and your sanity is tiptoeing, weighing on your heart till it drops to your toes because it feels safer that way. Bargaining. It is begging, pleading with the world to hear you out, screaming that the sun and moon will rewind, turning back the hands of time, because it simply cannot be true that a leopard loses its spots, a zebra loses its stripes, and a chameleon loses its ability to adapt. As I sit here, tears caressing the canvas of my face, painting a portrait of pain and sorrow. Depression. Being consumed and overloaded by all the emotions I refuse to indulge in. My refusal to acknowledge the feeling of a boulder sitting on my chest is the reason I am suffocating. It is the intrusive thought when your mind convinces you that if you hold the paintbrush firmly enough and allow it to caress your wrist, you will start to form your own red paint. It is questioning if you're alive, or perhaps you are existing outside of your body, and you are no longer the painter of this canvas. Acceptance. How many times can you say goodbye before you actually walk away? And I thought as many times as you need to. Scream it at the top of your lungs, or softly exhale it like carbon dioxide. Breathe it in like a fresh bouquet of flowers, or reminisce about it like an ex. Sing the melody to the song, irritate you to your ears bleed when you hear it. Or hold it tight like a teddy bear you receive from your favorite lover. I thought that maybe at this stage I'd be able to feel every emotion, but I'm sitting here, feeling numb. But do paraplegics really feel pain?
Oh!
So after denial, anger, bargaining, depression comes, and acceptance comes peace. Remember that breathing can be an involuntary process, and that you do not have to feel like you're drowning so long as you're willing to learn to surf. Thank you.
Yeah! Naledi Noko Kanye Tlalele, you are amazing! Isn't that incredible? Aren't our three finalists incredible? Okay, so firstly, how do you know so much and how the rest of us know so little about anger, depression, denial, acceptance, something else? I don't have enough fingers on my hand. And peace. How have you learned so much so young? You got wisdom.
Because I'm a hopeless romantic.
Is your crush here tonight? We have him.
No.
Okay, but tell us how you got into writing and thinking so deeply such that you have these lines that are yours.
Okay. So I've always been a person who feels a lot. And I guess I needed an escape place. So writing just became that place. And I used to vent to my great-grandmother, but then when she passed away, well, before she passed away, she told me to always pick up a pen and write if ever my heart felt heavy. So then it turned into this whole thing.
And how did it become a performance? When was the jump? What happened?
My friends actually encouraged me in grade 8 to perform. Basically, they said to me, no, if you don't do it, we're going to do it for you. And I just didn't want them to mess the whole thing up for me.
And have you been performing at school? Is there a community? Is there a club? Or is it just you and your phone in your room? What is it?
So grade 8 and 9, I performed at my old school. And I just recently did a poem called Beautiful Black Girl at my new school, Midrand Christian College. Yeah.
More incredible schools giving opportunities. Am I right? One more time for Naledi Noko Kanye Tlalele. Wow, I feel so privileged to have seen these three performers, don't you? Like, I feel so moved. The quality, also just the lyricism, the wordplay, all the three different styles, the three different subject matters, right from like your kind of like identity crisis being pulled in different directions, you know what I'm saying? Right through your kind of like letter to self and this diatribe and this finding yourself, you know, and then through to your infinite wisdom. I just feel so lucky, honestly, so lucky. But we're only like halfway there, so strap in, because now it gets not better or worse, just different. Okay, so coming up next, we've had one amazing 5FM talent, but there's another one who I'd like to introduce you to. She hosts early mornings on 5 in the week. Her name is Monique Dilas, and she is a poet and she is a wordsmith. And she's actually got like a really special poem for the message from the moments in her life when she wrote it. And so give a huge round of applause to our very own Monique Dilas is here! You can do your own.
I think I can do this. Hello everyone. My name is Monique. So I've been dabbling with what poem to read you tonight. I've never read poetry to anyone except for like my brother. So
What?
Yes. I'm really excited. And so I thought what would be fitting is I got my first commercial radio show this year, and so I'm gonna read you a poem from my book because I'm old school like that. And I am gonna have to look down because it's been a while. But it's about when I thought my radio career was over about 3 years ago. I just have to find it because I was going back and forth between poems while I was listening to these incredible poets. There we go. All right. What if no one knows my name? I know it shouldn't matter, but there was a time they did, and now I wonder if life will ever be the same. Wait, let me start at the beginning. When I was in high school, I felt small. I guess you could call me a flower on the wall. I always looked at those girls who could easily talk, the ones all the guys liked, the ones walking the stage to receive their awards, and I wanted to be them. School comes and goes. Before you know it, it's over, and all the people you know, they mean nothing. But the feelings you had, they cling to you. When I was in university, I found my voice. It was loud and proud. I simply fell into myself. It was not a choice, but simply who I always was, away from all the noise. I got a job in radio, and I found my place. Long story short, it's no longer my space. I feel so out of place, and the thought of sinking into the background is an idea I just can't face. I think about it often, and the thought is so debilitating that I'd rather not exist. I want no life if it's not the life I get to live. What if no one knows my name? I often say it's not about fame, or maybe it is, but I think it's more about the recognition for being good at my own life's vision. But what's in a name anyway? And who are they anyway? What if I'm the only one when the lights fade? I guess the only thing that matters is what I say to myself, to my friends, to the people who have always stayed. My name is Monique. You don't have to know my name. Here is my heart. I've just showed it to you.
Come back, friend. Come back. I never get to interview you. This is fun. Wasn't that amazing? It was her first time, people. She goes and talks to her country like every day, and this was her first time doing. That was amazing. Did you feel like your first radio show nervous? You know?
Yes. I was shaking. I don't know if you could see my book was like, I'm like, where's the water? But you guys are amazing. Thank you for letting me share that bit with you. It's really special to me.
Yeah, it was so special. And I mean, I've only known you at 5. And so and again, this is about like you find your voice and then other people hear you, right? And I didn't know that you were in such a dark place when it felt like all this wasn't going to happen. And not just 5FM, which is like the best of it, but like radio. What does it feel like to have performed that? Was it like a reliving? Was it like really quite emotionally intense?
It was emotionally intense, but I think it made me more happy than anything else. It reminded me that you just have to believe in yourself. Do not give up on your dreams. I mean, I wrote that 3 years ago. I had fully moved on. I moved to Joburg. I was working for my mom's interior design business. I had given up. And someone called me. And here I am. So I think it just inspired me more to like reread that and be reminded that what is meant for you will find you. Exactly.
Monique Dilas! Incredible. The only thing that makes me sad is this night is going so fast. You know what I mean? And everyone is amazing, like really amazing. Okay, so I'm really delighted now. I've had the privilege of having him on air and I've spoken to him in an interview, but it's time to be addressed by the world Poetry Slam champion, who happens to be a South African who is like, you know, like really pursued his own path and taken the road less traveled and been brave so many times for such a long time. And last year, or late 2 years ago, right? End of last year, got selected to. Yeah, I should have sent you my script. Meanwhile, I do everything off the cuff. Okay, so, but like got selected to be South Africa's slam poet. Because that's the way that International World Slam Poetry works, is each country gets one person. Just one person. And I think like what I've learned from you is what a responsibility that is. Because every country's got a different culture, different performance culture, a different story to tell, a different like, combination of people and energy to transmit to the whole world in a competition. And our country is so beautiful in its complexity. I mean, what a mantle to hold, right? All these people, all these stories. And then you've got to go to the world and say, please like South Africa. I'm actually really good at what I do. And he also told me that the way that you get ranked and scored in World Poetry Slam is that it's not a judge of expert panelists. Every country gets a certain amount of votes to give to their favorites. And so when you win, it's because you blew away the whole world, not 5 people who we've decided are the best people to the whole world. And so it is my deep privilege and honor to welcome World Poetry Slam champion Xabiso Vili to the microphone. Was that fair?
I mean, yeah. Ooh. But what a deep honor to be here, to hear all of you, to share in your work and in this becoming. When you walk into a performance, you already have a set in your mind. These are the poems I'm going to perform. And then the thing changes when you hear the words that are being shared. So there's this story I heard when I was touring India this one time, and it's an Indian folk tale, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and then go into some of my own poems. It's called The Story of the Story and the Song. Once upon a time, there was a housewife. She knew a story. She also knew a song. She never told the story nor sung the song. So one day, when she was sleeping, the story crawled out of her mouth and became a pair of man's shoes on her patio. The song tumbled out too and became a man's coat on top of the shoes. The husband, having worked late, came home that night and asked the housewife, "Who is visiting?" The housewife said, "What do you mean?" The husband said, "Well, on our patio, there is a pair of man's shoes and a man's coat, so who is visiting?" She said, "I don't know." They flew into a furious argument. In a rage, the husband picked up his blanket and went to go sleep at the monkey god's temple. The housewife, confused, sat up until late that night trying to figure it out. Unable to, she finally blew out her flame and went to bed. Now, all the flames of the village would gather at the monkey god's temple to gossip and discuss the villages. That night, all of the flames were present except one. When that flame finally arrived, they asked it, "Why are you late?" And the flame said, "Well, at my house there was an argument." And the flame said, well, tell us, what did they argue about?" And the flame said, "The housewife, she knows a story. She also knows a song. She never tells the story nor sings the song. So the story and the song, growing angry, decided to take revenge. They turned into a man's coat and a man's shoes on a patio. The husband, having worked late, came home, asked the housewife who was visiting. She didn't know. They flew into a furious argument. In a rage, he picked up his blanket and came to sleep here, and she only blew me out now trying to figure it out." This story spiraled all the way down to the husband's ears. When he heard it, he picked up his blanket, rushed back home, knocked on his door. When the housewife opened, he said, "Wife, I finally understand. Now please, tell me your story. Sing me your song." "What story? What song?" she said.
Oh, wow.
So tell your story. Sing your song. Word. So let's do a couple of poems and then There'll be time. There'll be time for questions, right?
There'll be time for questions.
There'll be time. Okay. Let's do poems so we can get to questions. There are days when you are a sprawling city. Tumble out of your bed sheets with last night's graffiti tattooed onto your tongue. Your teeth still gripping skin of some name already disappearing on your lips. How your voice doesn't belong to you. How it is a ghost. How your eyelids are tombstones. How this city breathes because your blood floods these streets. There are days when you are a sprawling city and your mother is worried about how much weight you're losing every time you pull yourself together enough to see her. How do you tell her it is not her fault she taught you to give too much, that you are spreading yourself all over walls that won't remember what you feel like or hold you back so you forget yourself on side streets and pavements and build a city on your skin, hoping that maybe you can lose yourself here. My mother loves me. My mother loves my father. My father and I do not speak. For the sake of my mother's love, I will meet my father for coffee this week. On neo-colonialism. Once they are done with our rhinos, they will come for the black man's teeth. Because we have come to this place to forget how to die. My kind lose sight of life even before they go blind, so we have come to take back their eyes, suck the cocoa butter from their skins so they can grow wrinkled, teach my people how to grow old. Dear God, let my people go. Put the ocean back together again. We will walk on water instead. Give that boy back his breath. His mother has been crying for 3 days. Jesus is not the only one that deserves resurrections. We have been in line for a miracle. Dear death, are you still cashing out saviors, or does your second coming look like Red Sea wrist, like tipping chairs, like we have telescopes for chests? Look through the exit wound and you will see all that you owe us. It must be hard to remember your debts from up there. Our Father, who art in heaven, also doesn't answer calls from debt collectors, can't clean up his mess, left a serpent coiled inside our breasts. Now my kind claw at their flesh, save themselves. I have been drunk for so long because the wakes never end. The roads to the cemetery are packed from one side to the next. I will turn this procession into prayer beads from our ribs. Our dentures will be these gravestones with your 10 commandments that I will carve into teeth. Bury my tongue 6 feet deep, so when it rises, resurrection is the only language it will speak. We have come to this place to forget how to die. We're tired of turning these photo albums into scripture, turning these photo albums into pictures. These memories give us paper cuts on the inside of our thighs, between our arms, those places that are easy to hide until they aren't. We have turned ourselves into frayed fabric for forgotten photographs, pulled at our wrists trying to hide the scars, unraveled at the seams and picked out scenes of our demise. And the psychiatrist asks us if we've ever thought of suicide. My kind have nooses for blood and bullets for eyes, knives in their throats that show when they smile, born with buildings beneath their feet. Close their eyes and learn how to fly. I'm tired, sighs the breath of my breath. And from here, I will take all the strength I have left. I'm ready to wrestle. Bring your God, bring your death. And if I lose, don't you dare lay me to rest, because my spirit is pissed and he's fighting next. Reminder, your sorrow is not a river.
It is not here to drown you. It is holy water, here to baptize you. But if you feel your chest exploding, those are your lungs turning into life rafts. Thank you.
Yeah. Are you done?
Yeah. I just
Can we just one more time? You've just seen the world champion. Like, I feel so privileged to have seen that, don't you? In the flesh, like the power. I can't even remember everything I was trying to remember when I was trying to track you, my brother. Okay, I'm gonna give this to you. Yeah, that's for you.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. I was distracted. Xabiso Vili, that is tremendous. And I can see how like moved you are and how full body, soul, spirit, and mind and everything that was. What is it like to write that and then to think, now I'm going to try and say it for people, even though it's such a personal, it seems like a personal ritual that you're doing. What's it like?
I mean, I think for me, like I say, around the healing of the work also becomes the healing of the performance. And so to be able to stand in front of people also become mirror to share in that experience. It becomes a reminder that you're not alone, right? You're not alone in this experience, that you're valid, that there are other people who are also trying to figure this out with you. And so to stand here almost itself becomes this holy experience. And it's almost kind of like giving yourself over to it. And I think the more you practice, the more you're able to give over. But there'll be performances where you just you can't access, and sometimes the words are just words. But when the spirit is right in the room, then the words become their own thing. I'm just saying them and they're living and doing what they need to do. Yeah.
And I mean, of course, you perform this a number of times for lots of different crowds, as you have with a lot of your work, and all the crowds are blessed to have seen them. I'm sure, like, you're so wrapped up in the performance, but you're also sensitive to this dialogue you're having with the rest of us. Do you sometimes get surprised by what gets a big reaction? I'm sure it's different versus crowd, and you're like, I did not realize they would like Kendrick Lamar. Like, well, whatever it is,
Yeah. I mean, all the time. And I think as much as I perform the poem as many times as I do, it will always be nuanced and will shift and will change dependent on that audience, right? And what's true for the audience at that particular moment. There's some work I do with playback theater where we come and audience tells us a story and then we play the story back. And so the energy in the room always kind of dictates the type of stories you're going to get, whether they be happy, whether they be sad. And so whatever kind of healing or change happens in the poem is also continuously dictated by the room, right? And it just becomes like, how do you listen to that? It's like when I was walking on stage after listening to everybody, I had to share that folk tale from India because that's what the spirit required in the room at that time, right? So it's about tapping into that spirit and listening and speaking back to what you're hearing.
And crucially, because like, I don't care what Lady Gaga said, you weren't born this way.
Right.
Talk to us about how you got here, because I think it's amazing at the end to go, he must be like a dragon, right? Born with all knowledge and all ability, but like long walk to get here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of my first poems are very bad sonnets, but that's because that's all we were learning in high school was like the Shakespearean sonnet. And so you respond to the impetus that you get. And so throughout life, it's like a lot of what these young poets have been doing, always trying to find a work that moves me, work that I feel that I want to strive towards. There's something, about initially kind of emulating somebody like you really appreciate and love, but then that almost becoming a key and a door that allows you into your own voice. But even in that finding your own voice, it's like, how do you refine yourself, And so that also just comes in with learning life and going through experiences and writing those experiences out to make sense of them. So it's been, and it still is a journey, right? Like reaching this mountaintop, like I was saying, Ben Okri says that like the beauty and the treasure of reaching a mountaintop isn't for you to live at the top of the mountain. It's a brief kind of break and a respite for you to be able to see all the other mountains, right? So I'm still in that process of climbing mountains, right?
What needs to happen across South Africa for more of these young kids to exist and maybe one day do what you do?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things we're really seeing already happen in this evening is teachers that believe in them, right? And then it's programs like this, but like many more where these teachers can hear them and then like go into schools. So I think it's important for us to come here, but then also how do we go in there? One of the ways I got started was by hearing another poet from another high school come into my primary school, and I was like, now I'm gonna write. So how do you know that your heart is beating for something that you don't even know exists yet? So how do you get that existence into the schools, into communities, get it like on more radios, you know? Like I was saying the other day, but it's you know, that 1 hour poetry segment, like on a radio somewhere, or like how do we get even more poetry shows for students and not just, you know, these shows at bars and drinks, but like actually have theater spaces for the youth where they like, you know, trained up and have a community together where they can help each other grow through it.
He speaks like this all the time, by the way. This isn't just what he knows. I said, how are you in our interview? And I learned everything in the world in about 2 minutes. So just quickly for our three poets, what did you think?
Oh my goodness. Where do I start? I mean, first of all, I think one of the really amazing things is like just how different and how your own voices are really coming through, both like in rhythm, but also in content, right? And I think one of the most powerful things and one of the most necessary things, quite often what we forget to do is write from where we're at, because quite often in school it's like, yo, you gotta do this poem and that poem, and it's like, but how does it relate to me? So to be able to speak on your own identities, to question self, to explore love, in also like these completely like original ways that are really like focused on like yourselves and your own lives, but also to allow them to relate to the audience, I think was like incredibly powerful work. I was sitting there being like, yo, when I was 16, I would not have been able to compete. I know that you could beat some poets that I know in a slam right now, right? Right? So I was like, literally thinking that I was sitting there. So like absolutely incredible work. And I think then the other kind of work becomes like, how do you carry on to hone that, right? Like what spaces do we start to create so that it's not just I did this poem this one time at 5 FM, but then it's like I was able to learn more about the craft, to learn more about the career of it, to learn more about the writing and the performance, and there was a space and a person I could go to. Which I think would be really exciting. And if we stay on that WhatsApp group, I would be happy to always be that person on the WhatsApp group. If you've got a poem, then I'd be like, yeah, I like this, and I didn't like that. So I'd be happy to offer my services on that level, and then we just explore like where to take you further, you know? 100%. Yeah.
And just before we wrap this up, we have one question about the story of the song.
Yeah,
and
the story of the story and the song.
Well, no story and no song. Where's the person who tried to ask the question?
Yeah.
What's the question? And the song.
Yes.
Okay. So she wants to know, how did you come to find the story of the story? And what's the story of you finding the story of the song and the story? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had created a poetry one-man show that then got invited on like a 3-month tour through India. And as I was going through India, I was hearing all these different folk tales, and I heard about this man who had gone through India and heard all these different folk tales in different languages, and then had translated them into English, and then created a book called The Flowering Tree, I think the book was called. And so when I read The Flowering Tree, the first story in there was the story of the story and the song, and it literally, like, it hit me so hard. I spent the next week just memorizing it. And so, like, for a very long time, every now and again when the Spirit calls, like, it's like, it's time for the story of the story and the song. So it's been kind of living in my body for a while now. I'm about to get a tattoo of it on my little mic arm to remind me of it. So like I'm the type of writer who's just, and I think all writers should be, who's just influenced by all writing and all stories, and they just like touch me deeply, and that's what keeps me writing.
World Slam Poetry Champion Xabiso Vili. There are going to be so many more times for questions and answers of this, but thank you so much one more time. The fact that we got this for free, we got his time, completely amazing. One more round of applause. I'm so sad to say that we're done. I'm out of entertainment. But I just want to say this has been such a special evening for me, and I'm sure it's been special for you too. I'm struggling to remember all the performances, but I know for certain that all of the performances moved me. And in the coming days and weeks, they'll come back to me. And I think that that's really beautiful. So I think that like this is an amazing start. Honestly, this is a mind-blowing, wildest dreams beginning of this. But imagine this in every community, in every town, in every city. Imagine people finding life in their education because it's not just a Shakespearean sonnet that you wish you'd never written. It's like your means of finding yourself and falling in love with language, falling in love with diction and word choice, and not just like a word that has synonyms, but what that word means and why you picked that word. And that's what I hope that this is the start of 5 School Poetry Slam, 5FM, giving people the voice so that then they can do stuff like that. So I would like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank every one of you. I don't have you on my list, but let's start with the 5 incredible high school students. The 2 who couldn't make it tonight, their names are Jacob Gordon and her name is Donna Levine. You'll see them on the documentary. There's a documentary. It's very good. We'll see. And then Roba Fazo Chakeza and Klaga Nipo Gomez Zulu and Naledi Noko Kanetlale. Incredible. Round of applause. And then 5FM's very own Shabzi Medallion and Monique Dilas. And finally, the World Slam Poetry Champion, Xabiso Vili. And we're done. One more round of applause for the live stream. And we are out.